this video, we're going to be building the Fast and Furious Dodge Charger RT model from Fanhome. Issue 55, 56, 57, 58 is, excuse me, is what we're going to be doing in this video. There's one thing I forgot to add into the last video, is that I had a free gift that came with it, and I'll go ahead and show that now. I got a free t-shirt. See, it says Fast and Furious on it. Of course, it's spelled backwards in the camera for some reason, but when you're looking at it, it's spelled the right way. But anyway, and in this shipment I got another free gift. I got a backpack with the Fast and Furious on it too. It's a pretty good sized backpack. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with these things, because it's not stuff that I normally would use. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with the t-shirt. It's too small for me. So I mean, it is collectible, so I'll probably just keep it for the collector purpose of it. I don't know yet what I'm gonna do with that stuff, or even the backpack. But for now, I'm gonna hang on to the stuff, okay? So yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and get started. Alright, so here's issue 55. We'll go through the magazine like we do the others. Some more stuff from the movie. It's little tidbits. Characters. And a little bit of story about their characters, I think. Or maybe the actor, who knows. Some more car stuff. Probably not related to the thing. Okay, well, it looks like we're doing the assembly of the dashboard. Okay, little parts here and there. Okay, those two wires right here, 46C and 46B. I've already grabbed them off the car. I got them right here. The green one is the 46B. It's a really dark green, and then the white one is 46C. So you can't really get those mixed up. So they're color coded on the other part where I unplugged them from, so they can only go in with the right. You have to color match them when you're putting them back together. So just a lot of parts here and there. Alright, some more stuff here. Just mainly the dash. And then it gets into racing seats. Okay, what are we going to have now? How to take care of the upholstery? Oh, how to upholster racing seats, or how they make them, I guess. I don't know. The last couple magazines are more or less how to paint. I mean, not how to paint, but how to take care of your paint on your car, how to detail, that kind of thing. Now we're talking about racing seats now. Okay, they kind of went away from putting the movie stuff at the end of the magazine. Alright. And we got, here's what the kit looks like. Multiple pieces to put together. Some buttons, things like that. So yeah, we'll get to it. Okay. Now the instrument cluster is this, and they want us to put it onto the panel. Okay, what's where it says voltage, temp, oil, pressure. Now on the back, you want to make sure the gauges are the right way. They're only going to go one way, so you got one big gauge and the rest of them are small. So the rest of the gauges are little, going towards the right, the way I'm holding this part, and the big one goes there. So you just kind of line it up and goes in like that. The next part, flip it around this way. You got these buttons. Now two of these buttons look exactly the same, and then there's one by itself that is not the same. It looks slightly different. Now I'm not sure if it makes a difference which way this button goes, but it's slightly different than the others. I'll just have to look at the instructions a little bit closer to find out which way it goes, but it is slightly different than the others. I'm not sure. It says it's a it says ignition switch, and then you got these other two, they're just switches. So the two switches that look exactly the same, you have to look at them real close. They do look exactly the same. You got a little dot in the center, and then you got this one that looks a little different. It's more rounded. It looks like it's got a little key shape in it. So the switches, it says to put them in like so. Make sure they go in just like that. Make sure it goes in all the way. There you go. And for this one, like I said, I'm not sure if it matters which way it goes. I'm gonna have to look at it through the book real quick to see if it goes up or down or certain way it has to go. So let me look at that real quick and I'll come right back. Well, I couldn't really find anything on how this button is supposed to be in there. I don't think it matters because there ain't really a switch behind it anyway. There is a certain shape to it and everything if you look at it under magnification, but I don't think you can be able to tell it. You know, so I kind of put it. It's hard to explain it, but there's like a little slit, or it's got like a little key shape to it. It's kind of, instead of it being up and down like it, it's kind of turned slantly like this, like where the key would go into it. And it's kind of up like this, but it's sort of turned a little bit that way. So I kind of have it like that going in. So it's hard to explain it. So I can't really flip it over to really show you. But alright, so we're going to go into the next step on this. So they want us to take the switches that we took off the car. Alright, so with the orientation of this, basically the way I'm looking at it, the gauge cluster is upside down right now, or the dash is, it's upside down because this is where the steering column goes. So with the switches on your right, if you're looking at it this way, the green one goes on this side first. Make sure the wire points up. So I may have to use the tweezers for a little help on this. Yes, I know the light sucks over here, but what are you going to do about it? Alright, you just kind of get that switch into that little hole, if it'll stay in there. And it might stay in, it might come out, I don't know. Alright, now the white one, same thing. Make sure the wire kind of, it points up, just don't hurt it. So very carefully, you want to bend it. Just don't hurt the switch if you can help it. Like that. Alright. Now same process, you want to stick it. I'll get that little part of the switch inside that little hole right there. So just kind of push it in. Like that, if it'll stay that way. Okay. And of course in the other part that says if you haven't already done it, you make sure your wires are going that direction. You know, make sure they're bent. You bend them very carefully in that orientation like that. So they're actually going down to the bottom of the steering, the gauge cluster. Because again, this is where the steering column goes, that little notch right there is where the steering column's going to go. So this is supposed to be the top of the, I got it upside down, this way it's showing in the book to do it. So that's where the switches go. Okay, now they want us to take this little part. Let's see. Showing it like this. Okay. So for now it's showing to put an AP screw in that hole and an AP screw in that hole. So get my screws out. Alright, as I just showed. Now where the wires are coming out, you want to make sure that this back piece is actually, you know, it's recessed for the wires to come out. Make sure it's sitting like this before you put the screws in. Again, okay, we just put screws in very carefully. Just get them started so these switches don't pop back out or anything. You want to snug this up all the way. Okay. Now, I still don't know exactly why they have this little button here, because there's no switch behind it. It's just in there for looks, I think. So I'm not sure why they didn't put a switch here. It would be kind of cool to have one there, but I don't know. Anyway, there's that part. Next step. Alright, next step, they want us to put the dashboard onto what we got assembled so far. Of course, make sure the switch is straight. I don't know if it matters if it's straight or not, but I'm going to make sure that mine is, being that there ain't nothing behind it. Alright, so basically you got the dashboard and you got the cluster. So one screw there behind that wire, and then this other one's actually going to hold the switch in place so it doesn't fall out. So it takes 2 AP screws for this. So I think we're going to screw that side in first to keep that little switch in place, or button in place that doesn't get used. Can get it in there. That little button ain't gonna go nowhere. I still don't know why they wanted to put a button in there for if it ain't got nothing behind it to click it. Okay, through this one, to get the screw in, you're probably gonna have to go in between the wire, or just kind of move it a little bit to get behind it. Okay, there's that. It looks like they'll be fine. And now, that's what that looks like. That's kind of cool. See, this button don't do anything. It just pushes against, there's nothing behind it. And then you got these 2 switches here. This one. And this one. So I can't remember which one does the horn. Well, I'm sure when you start adding stuff to it, it'll probably get more stiffer. Yeah, it'll probably get stiffer when you get to tighten it up some more. When there's more stuff added on, it'll probably tighten up where you can push on it. So, yeah, I don't know if it'll go any tighter or not. I don't think it will. Okay, as best tight as I'm going to be able to get it. Yeah, it's like it needs something else right here, but it probably won't get that until I get more stuff on it, and then it'll probably hold it down right there where you can actually push the button, so it doesn't hurt it. And that finishes up kit number 55. All right, we'll go to the next one. Okay, this is issue 56. And we'll show some more pictures, stuff from the, looks like from the movie. Clashes of the Titans. I don't remember, I don't know, I mean, it's been a while since I've seen any of the Fast and Furious movies, so I don't remember what part of the movie that's in, if it's even in one of them. So, I don't know. Okay. Another Hemi Dodge Charger. You know, I'm not going to say anything about Hemis and stuff like that, or, you know, I mean, I'm kind of an old school guy. You know, if I wanted to have something with a Hemi in it, or something that's, you know, I'd like something that's old school. You know, like, what is that, 70 Dodge Charger? You know, Charger. And, you know, have a Hemi in it and that kind of thing, or supercharge it, you know, something like that. An old school type thing, no electronics, no computers, none of that stuff on it. And the reason why I'm saying that, I know there's a lot of people out there, they driving these brand new cars, you know, stuff like that, but these newer cars are not built to last. Not like the ones that are old, that's been around for 30, 40, 50 years or longer. Those old cars are still around because they built them with style. You know, they built them with to last a very long time, you know, when they built those cars. But these newer ones, you know, something like this, I mean, you're looking at, you know, it's got computers on it and things like that, and you ever burn up a little chip that's about the size of a dime, it keeps the car from running, you know, something like that. And here's an example. My wife's car, she has a 92 Buick Century Limited. One day we were driving it and the car just shut off on its own without nobody touching the key, you know, and it would drive down, you start it and it would go down the road about a half a mile and it just shut off. Or if you let it run in the driveway on a cold day to let it warm up, and it would just shut off after about 5 minutes. And it turned out to be a little bitty sensor about this big. It was about $250 for this little bitty sensor. It's a crankcase sensor that goes on there, and it tells the computer that the engine is rotating. In order for it to continue to run, it has to have that little bitty sensor. My car doesn't have a sensor like that on it. Not whatsoever. And if anything keeps my car from running, it's something simple. It could be something with fuel, it could be something with the carburetor, it could be something with a fuel pump, it could be something with the battery cable, things like that. I don't have to worry about a computer. And not only that, I mean, for the price of a small chip that you would put on a modern car, I could buy 5 sets of spark plugs for my car. or a set of spark plugs and wires, and I could buy a distributor, and for the price of one of those chips that you can put on one of these modern cars, I could rebuild half my engine with it. You know, so you see my point? It's more expensive to have a modern car than it is to have an older classic car that you can work on yourself. These newer cars, I don't know much about them other than they are pricey and they have electronics on them, and I don't like them. But anything that's old school Mopar, oh, I like that stuff. You know, that's real good. But anyway, we'll go back to this. I just had to rant for a minute, so okay. So we're doing some more of the dash on the car. Looks like our screw of choices are going to be AP and KP screws. And it looks like we're going to be putting the top of the dash together. And looks like the RPM gauge or tachometer, and then the bottom half of the gauge cluster or the dash. And then when we're done with it, it should be looking something like that when we're finished. Alright. Okay, some more stuff about cars, interior designs. Oh, now we're going to talk about designs of the interior now. Okay. Nothing about the Fast and Furious, huh? Okay. And here's the kit. Ain't much to it. Just a few pieces here and some screws, and that's it. Really not that much to it. Alright, I'll get to it. Alright, so they want us to take the dash assembly that we did in the other previous kit, and they want us to put the top on it. This is the top of the dash, and you see it's pointed on one side and it's rounded on the other, on the side of it. And on the bottom you see 4 screw points to put screws in. And what I was saying in the other video is like there's got to be a, where it didn't have no screws here, and then this needs to be pushed a little bit more towards that way to help support it. Push towards it this way, because there's no support here like it is in the middle and on that side. So the support is in this part here. There's the support. So just basically put it in where it lines up with those tabs, or whatever they call those. I can't think right now. Anyway, we'll start with this side first and get that screw started. And it takes 4 KP screws. Alright, I noticed something when I was tightening up this part of the dash. I was noticing something weird. Okay, when I tighten this up, for some reason this button, or when I was tightening up this one, this button wouldn't push. It wasn't making any noise when I pushed on it. What I ended up having to do, now if you have the same problem, after you get through tightening these up and you try pushing in this button and it doesn't click, try loosening up that screw right there behind the wire, behind that wire, and then keep these tight, and then it should do this. Okay, and then this one. So that's what it's supposed to do. This one don't do anything, but these two here should click. It's doing what it's supposed to do, so that's good. Alright, so there's that. Now we get to put together the tachometer. Tachometer. On the back of the tachometer there's a pin, and then on the body of the tachometer there's a hole. Now this part of the tachometer that goes up towards the top, now pay attention to how it's facing on the numbers on the front. I don't know if you can see it too well, but if you look at it, the way the numbers are on it and everything, I don't know if you can see it that way, but it should say RPM on this side, and then all the numbers are going from 0 all the way up to 10 on the left hand side of it. And the top part of the tachometer is this little bracket that's on it. So when you put this in, it just pushes in. But again, if you have to, you can always glue it if it doesn't want to stay. So, but it should go in if I can get it in there. I gotta make sure it's straight. Okay. Just push it in. so. And it ain't going nowhere. Okay, so it's in there good. So make sure it's in there straight, or fairly straight. I like that. Alright, next step. Now in this little section, the completed tachometer needs to, there's a little hole right here for it to go to, a little recessed area for it to attach to, and then on the back of this you want it to be held in with an AP screw. So you just line up the holes. Okay, now there's a tachometer attached to it now. It's a little hard to get that in there because it wants to move around when you're trying to tighten this thing up, so you may have a little trouble getting that on there. Okay, so next little part they want us to put on here is the lower panel. I need to zoom out for this. Can I even zoom out? Nope. Alright, now they want us to take the lower panel that goes onto the lower part of the other part of the dash, and you line these 4 holes up with the pegs that are on the upper part of the dash, like so. And make sure the wires are on this part of that when you stick that in there. You don't want them to be caught underneath this part. Be careful with the tachometer, it can break off if you put too much pressure on it. So start with a hole in the middle. Get that to hold on there before I start putting the other ones on. Okay. It takes 4 KP screws, if I hadn't already said that, which I think I already did. I'm just repeating myself. Okay. And that finishes this segment, or this kit. Okay, this is finishes off kit number 56, and we do have a leftover part, and it says hang on to it till another kit, or measure exactly. It says keep the wire clamp in a safe place until use for later. So we get to use it at a later time, so it's going to stay like that. And the screws kind of keep them nearby for whenever I get to do that. So anyway, that finishes that kit. Now we'll go on to the next kit. Okay, and this kit is issue 57. And we'll look through the book real quick before we get started. Arriving in Rio, I guess a little bit behind the scenes or something on the characters, I guess, of the movie. Okay. Now see, there's a classic car that I like. There's no computers on it, so stuff like that. Anyway, we're going to be doing the steering column in this one. Okay, AP screws, CP screws, and DP screws are the screws of choice in this kit. And we'll be assembling the steering column with the gear shifter on it, and we get to attach it to the part that we put in the last kit. We gotta get another part off the car, which is the LED board that goes behind the dash cluster. We gotta put that on, or we gotta take it off the car and put it somewhere, and we gotta get to put it on the back of the dash like that. Okay, and then after that we got a few extra parts left over. Got some screws and that. Okay, we gotta save that for another kit. And now it looks like we're getting into stereo systems now. I don't know what's going on with these catalogs. Or we have an advertisement for parts and stuff for like one of them was like telling you how to wash your car, how to take care of your paint. Now we got stereo systems. Okay, I guess that's not too bad. It's just funny how they getting away from, unless all this stuff was in the movies, then that would explain, that could be the reason. But anyway, here's the kit. It's not a lot to it. Looks like we'll have so many screws left over, and we'll have that little ring left over too. Okay, let's get to it. Okay, we're going to be putting the right and left side of the steering column together. Now on this piece, there's two little tabs sticking up here, and then the opposite piece you're going to see two little holes that they go into to help it stay together. And if I can do this without it going everywhere. Okay. Now, okay, the part that has the two pins on it that goes on the bottom, and then this port goes on top like so, and then you put the screws in from this direction, the DP screws. So a certain way they want you to put the screws in on this, so pay attention to that. Okay. There's that part. Now they want it to be flipped over, and there's two screw holes on the bottom right here, and you got to put two more DP screws in it. Alright, two DP screws here. Help hold this part of the steering column together and make sure it's straight. Snug it and over tighten. Even when you're not trying to over tighten, sometimes they do strip out. It did on the seat when I was putting the seat together. I had one screw strip on me, and I wasn't even trying to. It didn't even get to tighten up, so it just kind of stayed loose. But it was enough in there to hold it together. So now that that's together, now we take the gear shifter. Okay. Which side does this go into? Okay, there's a hole on the bottom of this part of the steering column. And the gear shifter. They call this a switch. It looks like a gear shifter, but I could be wrong on that. Okay, looks like There's a certain way that it has to go in, and you have to be very careful when you push this in, and you don't want to break this. But it looks like it looks like a half moon shape inside that hole. And I'm looking on this, and it looks like, okay, this side is rounded, and then this other side is flat. You have to really look at it under magnification to really see it. So, alright, the flat end goes to the flat end, and then the round goes on the round. So, okay. Very carefully. Need some assistance from my tweezers. Okay. Now this could be the turning signal switch, because the reason why I'm saying that, the reason why I'm saying that it could be a turning signal switch is because of, well, I don't think it's a gear shifter, because on the gear shifter for the transmission is actually on that other part of the car. It's not on the column. So this could be a turning signal switch. But they call this a switch, so why don't they say turn signal switch? Lever. Switch lever, I guess, but oh well, it's whatever you want to call it. Alright, now we get to bring this thing back out. And then we flip it over. And they want us to put it, okay, on the top of there's these two holes on the bottom of this. There's two tabs on this part here. I'm going to put those two tabs in those two holes right there. Line, just stick them on in there. Alright. Then they want us to attach the column to this. Make sure those holes are lined up in there with two AP screws. Okay, now you're putting two AP screws in here. That's one. We'll get the other one. Now be careful when you're pushing or when you're putting this in, because you have some delicate parts on here that could break, especially if you're trying to push on it. You could break that off, or you could accidentally knock that off. You don't want to do that either. So be careful what you're grabbing when you're tightening this up. So hang on to the steering column, but just don't grab the switch lever. Let's put your column in. Can't snug. That's snug. Okay, there's that part. Now they want us to go grab the lights, or the LED thing off of the, what do they call this thing? The dash lights, dash panel lights. So I'll be right back. Alright, now this little LED thing that makes the dash light up, you grab that off the car. Very carefully unplug that. You don't want to snap or break a wire, so it's kind of delicate. If you have to use your tweezers, then I say do it. Alright, so it's only going to go on one way, so if the little recessed area notch, it's going to go around that little area right there where the screw is. So basically they just tell you very carefully, push this into those four holes right there, very carefully. Make sure the wire is going in the same direction that these other wires are going. Just to make sure they're going in the same direction, very carefully. Yeah, my fingers are big and making it a little difficult for this to go in there, but okay. The LED's kind of started into the thing. Watch where I'm grabbing so I don't smack or don't damage the steering thing. Alright, push. I'm assuming this is going to stay in there. Just a guess. So I don't know. Looks like it's in there pretty good now. I don't think it's hurting anything. Alright. And there we go. That's in. And then it says, okay, well, that finishes that part of it. So now you got that. Okay. Now, even though the picture doesn't show this, I'm looking at it in the book, it just shows the column without the... That is so weird. By looking at this, I guess they want to mimic it like it used to have a steering. It used to have a shifter right here, and then I guess according to the story, you know, Dom or Vin Diesel's character Dom, when they were probably building this, they decided to delete the gear shifter and stick it in the floor, right? So you still have the old column that probably had a gear shifter in the column at one time. Because the key goes here and it's pointing at the off position on the dash. So the shifter is now on the floor instead of on there. So this is the switch for this turn signal. As if you need a turn signal for this kind of car. But, yeah, whatever. Anyway, you're going to have some pieces left over. According to this, I'm not sure. Okay, am I missing a part? Oh, I am. Okay, that little ring right there, it says, yeah, just keep this and what looks like CP screws, keep them in a safe place until they're needed for some in the future. So I guess that's what we'll do. Okay, this finishes kit number 57, and now we'll get along to the next kit. Okay. Now this looks like it might be a short kit. So number 58. Okay, some more pictures from the movie. The characters, I mean. Yeah. Kind of goes back to the first movie kind of thing. Or somewhere in the middle kind of thing. I don't know how far back these go. And some more cars that I don't know if they're even in the movie, but I'm not sure why they're there. Okay, looks like we're working on the roll cage in this one, so we're using PM screws as a screw of choice. Looks like we get the rear arch of the roll cage and the rear right bar, and that's it. Oh, we get to actually put the dash in to the bottom half of the car now. That's good. Yeah, so we get to do that. It's real good. And talk about the roll cage a little bit. But we don't get to put the roll cage in yet. So when we're done, we get that part, which is not finished, and then we get part of the roll cage, which is not done yet. Okay. And now we're talking about subwoofers and speakers, pretty much now. Okay, what has this got to do with Fast and Furious? Unless they're just saying what kind of speakers they used in the cars in the movie. That's about the only thing I can think of. Unless they're just trying to give you a tutorial on how to do it yourself, or how shit's made. That's my guess. So, anyway, very short kit, just part of the roll cage, and that's it, and some screws. Okay, let's get to it. Alright, there's not too much left to do in this kit before it's finished, so we gotta put 8 screws in this, Got 2 that goes here, 2 here, and then we got 4 that goes across. Alright, so we need to we get to put the dash in, just line the holes up. I'm gonna, being that there's so many to put in, I'm gonna kind of start them, and then when I get them all in, then I'll tighten them up, because I don't want anything shifting around. Alright, so we'll get them started. Alright. And once I get them all in or started, then I'll come back and tighten them all back up. Let me take a quick look. Yep. So yeah, it's gonna be 8 total screws going in. There we go. They're all tight. Now okay, that part's done for now. So let's get that aside. Now we got the roll cage. And this thing's made out of metal, by the way. No plastic here. Alright. So, you notice these little triangular looking supports on the end here. Okay, they want us to be, so you kind of hold it like this. And it looks like the angular tubing. Angled like that, they want it to go in this hole right here. Okay, I need to hold that together with a PM screw. Cut. Put a little oil on your screw. This is going to be a little bit tiddly. A little tedious, or whatever we're going to call it. A little crooked. Yeah, this is gonna be a little not so easy. Alright, so finally got that in. It fought me a little bit, but this is what it looks like so far. So there's that part, and that means that this kit is now finished. We're finished with kit 58. So we got this other part here that we just did with the dash right there, and now we got the part of the roll cage started. So yeah, it's coming along. Okay. This video might be a little long, I'm not sure. Maybe it's because I'm tired, but I will try to edit out what I can to make it a little bit smaller. But it's coming along. It's getting there, despite all the issues I've been having health-wise and all that stuff. It's coming along. So next shipment, and then we'll be 4 more kits. The number 59, 60, 61, 62 will be coming in the next video. So I think that's right. Don't quote me on that. I might be wrong on that, but well, when it comes, it'll get here. All right. So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you subscribe, it helps me out a great deal. And if you hit the notification bell, it will let YouTube know you like this kind of content. Now, not only just from me, but from other content creators that do similar things with this kind, big models and things like that. It'll put you in, let you see their kind of stuff. So yeah. Until next time, I see you when I see you, and we'll do the next 4 kits. So yeah. Till then, bye.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to work, cause my boss is a jerk, and I'm not even that paid.